Welcome to the Romance Your Tribe podcast with me, Janet Beckers, where every episode is about action, creating an online business you absolutely love, and bringing joy to the work you do. Let's get this party started. Hello and welcome, Janet Beckers here, and today we're looking at a different way to set goals. So if you've been finding that you've been setting these goals, these hairy, scary goals that for you and your business, and you've got your plan, but you're still not getting the results you want, I think you'll really get a lot from today, because I know that when I was doing the research on this, I really got some great big ahas that's going to influence the way that I am working towards my own goals, and then also the way that I help my clients as well. So let's get stuck into it. So the first thing is, let's have a look about why setting normal goals doesn't necessarily work, and the little bit of the path that I've been going on to sort of find alternatives. So I want you to think about this way. How many times have you said yourself, or you've heard somebody else say, my goal is to have $1 million business? They may get more specific and say, my goal is to have a $47,000 a month business. There's your $1 million business, moving up there. So, or it might be, it doesn't necessarily mean to do with the specificity, how specific it is. That was a hard one to say. So a lot of times when it comes to setting goals, there's the whole idea of the SMART goals. So they need to be specific, measurable, actionable, R&T, who cares what they are. The most important thing there is, that you're tracking them, all those sorts of things. That it's really very much about using that kind of left side of the brain, that very much data-driven, here is a specific number, this is the goal I'm going to set. Okay, that's a great way. There's so much training on using those, and I also use, for myself, with my business, with my clients, we use 90-day goals. So we think, what's the goal, the big goal? Let's look what we can do in 90 days, and let's break it down so that we can work towards it. And it's a really fantastic way for you to set the direction that you're going. But going back to my question, how many times have you heard people say, I want to have $1 million business? Or how many times that you have said it? Now I want you to have a look at how many people that say that have that $1 million business. So if it was only up to the goal, if the goal was the big thing, well, we would all achieve it, wouldn't we? So, that's stating the obvious, but you know what? If you set yourself these goals, so it might even be a smaller goal that might be coming down, to launch that podcast, to write that book, to launch your own Flagstaff program so that you're no longer competing with everybody else. You've got something unique. How many people actually do those? And if you've set that goal, then, and you don't reach it, how does it make you feel? And so if you're getting those little bursts constantly of, you know what, I'm calling BS on my ability to do this, because, hey, here is another thing that I didn't achieve that I set the goal, another thing that I did. So it really does tend to undermine your confidence and therefore your actual ability to be able to achieve that goal. Now, of course, there is so much more that goes to achieving a goal. And I know that you'll be thinking, yeah, that's one thing, but there's the practicalities, there's the mindset, there's all these other things that go into it. But I want to break it down into some things that I've been learning just this week. That's really a fantastic way to have the next step when it comes from having that goal. So I'll tell you the idea here is, rather than you've got those specific measurable goals, and you can still have those, okay, but don't rely completely on those. So what we're going to be talking about today is identity goals. And I love this idea because it means it's something that you are constantly working on day by day. So let's just dive in a little bit into what the identity goal is and where's this concept come from, so you can explore it a little bit further. We'll do that. Then we're going to go over some action steps on how you can apply this in your own business so you can start really getting a lot more confidence in being able to achieve those goals that you set yourself. And I'll explain, I'll share with you what I'm doing myself, what my identity goals are, and even just this morning, how I found myself using that and how it really, really helped me to achieve my little mini goal for the morning. Okay, so I've come across this concept this week. Every single Monday is called Mother Monday. My mum is really quite elderly and she's been exceptionally unwell over the years. And at the Christmas time, we actually didn't think that we were going to have her even into the new year. It was a pretty crappy time. And I'm really close to my mum, and my sister is as well. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman. So long story short, we were able to get mum over that medical hurdle with a lot of help. And it really made me think, you know what? I try to get up here to where my mum is as much as I can. She's an hour and a half away from me, sometimes 2 hours on the traffic. So that's there and back. So, I try to get up as often as I can. But, I thought, I don't know how long I'm going to have my mum for me. Hopefully it will be years. So I'm going to actually make her a priority in my life. And instead of me always having any feeling of, guilt of, I haven't got up there this week, or, I haven't been up for a couple of weeks, or should I get up on this weekend, or should I stay? All those sorts of things. I thought, right, let's just turn this into a routine, into a process. So every single Monday, I go to the gym, get dressed, head off from the gym straight to my mum's place, and I have the whole day with her. A lot of it is doing a lot of care and logistics stuff, but a lot of it is having fun and enjoying her company. So this is really the only time that I have a long drive because I work from home. So I listen to podcasts all the way up and all the way back. I love learning great podcasts. So I've been binge listening to Brené Brown. If you're not familiar with Brené Brown, Brene is how you spell her first name. Go and find her. She's just fantastic. And she's got a few really good podcasts that are on Spotify. And I've been listening a lot to the one which is her Dare to Lead. Now, listening to this yesterday, she was doing an interview with James Clear. And he is the author of Atomic Habits. So the discussion here was the introduction to the idea of, I'll just take one little part that I really would like to share with you today, which is the idea around identity goals. And we'll also talk to, if you want to check out Atomic Habits, hugely successful book by James Clear, Brené Brown, her Dare to Lead podcast. And then also I'm going to refer to Todd Herman, who is a really inspiring bloke. And his book, Alter Ego Effect. You may have heard me talk about that before or heard me interview Todd, but I'm going to refer to that today. So these are great resources because the reality is, as I said at the beginning, you can set these goals of what you're going to do. You may even have the steps that you know that you need to follow to do it. But it's not just resources, skill, intellect, luck, mindset. There is other things that really aren't the kind of things that you have to keep on, well, with me, with mindset is, you have to be doing it constantly. There are things that you can be doing that are going to give you those tools to actually implement and stick with it. So that's what we're going to be covering here. Those 3 resources are just absolutely brilliant for you to really be that person that has got a wealth of these skills for you to be able to use to hit your goals. Okay, so what is an identity goal? So the thing that I really loved that James was talking about was, again, the goals are fantastic. They give you a direction, like your normal goals. They also allowed you to put a little bit of a filter so that when you can get an opportunity, which once you start taking action, a lot of opportunities do come to you. You need a filter to be able to go, yes, this is the one I will say yes to, this is the one I will say no. And so having your goal that you're heading towards is a great way to be able to do that. So I really like that distinction, that it was not just your focus giving you direction, but it was also a filter. But the thing that really makes the difference, that gets you the results, is your systems. Now, I mentioned one system that I use, which is every single Monday, without fail, I will go and have the day with my mum. Now, and I block it out in my calendar. Nobody, I don't have any meetings. My team knows that. I'm still contactable. They can still get me on Slack, but my focus is there because that is something identified as an important goal to, to make, I am a person that really, really values my close relationships. So that was a system. So systemizing it means everybody knows where they stand and we just have to follow the process. Okay. So I'm going to mention some other ones which are more business related, but that's, the side benefit there is, I have education all the way up there and back. So there's extra things that come from that. So it's those systems that get you the results. Now, doing those systems is really, and this is the whole concept of the atomic habits, is, it's doing those systems is very much having those habits, creating what you're doing in your day so that those habits are very much a part of your system. So you don't have to think them through, that they follow through. So how do you keep them going? So this is where identity goals come in. And I love, even if you just get this can be enough that's really going to help you to move forward. So you may have your goal of, I want to have the $1 million business, whatever it is. Your identity goal is, what is the type of person that I wish to become? How powerful is that? Now, when it comes to implementing this, and I'll share with you a bit of steps you can follow, or that I've been following, is when it comes to doing this, well, there's going to be a few identities. I've mentioned one. I am the type of person that really values my close relationships. And I give my focus there, okay? That would be one of my identity goals, to be a great daughter, more than a daughter, to be a great friend, to let the people I love know that I love them through the way that I demonstrate it. That's one goal, okay? Now, there's other goals that you may have. Now, that when it comes to your business, one of the goals that you may have might be, instead of competing with everybody else, you might go, the kind of person who I want to be the kind of person that's an industry leader who does the work to actually have, for example, my own flagship framework, the way that I work with people. That might be your thing. I'm an industry leader who has a flagship program, a flagship framework. That might be what you do. I'm the kind of person who not only, that I'm an industry leader who is constantly at the top of my game in what's new. That might be the thing that you're having in your mind. It might be, I'm the kind of person who always turns up. This is a great one when your goals are also to do with health. Because for me, that's always the one I have. I'll always turn up for any commitment that I've said with my business, with people who I love. But when it comes to my fitness, sometimes that bed's a bit comfy. So, I'm the kind of person who always turns up. That might be what your, what your identity goal is. So I want you to think about here when we talk about the action steps is number one is go, okay, I've got my big goal, $1 million business. Let's just stick with business for the moment, $1 million business. So what kind of identity, what kind of person do I wish to be? It might be, I wish to be, this is what your action step here. What does that look like for you? Let's start like a broader identity. Like I am an industry leader. I'm the kind of person that people look to and trust to get results in the leadership, in leading in my business, in my industry. That might be the way you're doing it. You might be going, I'm the kind of person who is really savvy with my money. That might be in my business, in how I grow my money and how I spend my money in my business. That might be the thing that you're thinking is the thing that you want to focus on, that you need to focus on. It may very well be that I'm the kind of person who disrupts my industry and I am known as the maverick. That might be your thing if you're thinking, right, I really want to be braver and take more risks. They're going to be very different to every single person, and that's the beauty of it. We can all have the same goal, but you want to make sure that what it is that you're having as your identity is the one, and it can be more than one here, that is really working for you. So once you've got that, okay, now let's look at some sort of sub-identities, because I found when I looked at that big one, when it came to me actually working out, okay, what are the steps I take, I then had to think out of, okay, I wish to become this person who stands out as the industry leader. So people want to work with me. Okay, we need to get a bit more specific on that. So I want you to think about, all right, well, how do I do that? Because it's the systems. So the next thing that you need to do, and this will really help you with, I guess, a sub-identity goal, and this is not really something that James talked about in the interview I was hearing, but this is how I've been able to apply it, is I think, okay, well, I've got to have a process. So for you, if you've set your process, say that I'm going to be an industry leader, and to do that, I know that I need to have a framework that sets me apart from everybody, the way that I get results for people, my flagship framework that I can work with people one-on-one or in group programs, so my flagship system. So you're going, well, how do I do that? Because I tell you, a lot of people think about it, not many people do it. So how do I do that? So first of all, you go, okay, well, I need to know the steps, the system. So if that's what you want to have, I chose that particular term because that's what I help people do. So I have a system, the Attract Your Tribe system. It has 6 milestones that you work through step by step. So you've got the system to work there. So I can help you with that. If you want to know that, just contact me. That's my gig, baby. But then when it comes to implementing, okay, so then you're thinking, well, what type of person do I want to be that actually does it? So I've set this goal to be the industry leader who has their own flagship program. What type of person would do this? So this is where I kind of got into sort of more, I guess, sub-identity goals. And so for me, some of those were, I'm the type of person who always turns up. So this could be, for me, I'm using this because I'm focusing a lot on health, but it's also with business. I'm the type of person, even though I work from home, I set my own hours. I'm the type of person that I set in my calendar, this is when I'm working on this, and I'm the person that does that. So, or it might be, you might be good at starting something, but then you kind of get distracted. That's me. That is so me. So my other identity is I'm the type of person who finishes what they start. I'm the type of person that keeps on going, even though they may not feel like it. So that might be that sub-identity for you. So that's your action plans to start with, is like, understand what your goal is, your big goal, and we're going to stay, $1 million business. And so then you might be going, well, my identity is going to be, I'm an industry leader that people really want to work with. Like I stand out differently. So then you're going, all right, well, I need a system. Okay, I need a system to follow that's going to get me there. So then what are going to be your sub-identities? What are the things that you want to do? And now this is what James actually said, which I thought was a great thing, is the way that you stick with this identity goal is multiple times a day, you will be thinking, you've got to do something. Okay. And it might be, for example, me shooting this podcast today, normally I will have a block that I have already done. I might have done a month at a time, but I'm up to that stage to do. And I thought, I've got a lot of things I've got to get done this morning, but I'm the type of person who will consistently create quality content that helps my clients. I've got to do it. So, right, this is going to get done today, and just don't even think about it. So what you will do then is you'll be going, well, what would a industry leader do in this situation? So if you ask yourself, whatever your particular goal is, or what would a person who always turns up do in this situation, then you could go, oh, well, they would have already blocked this out in their calendar and done it. Okay, that's what I will do then. So this is the way that it can then work. So I'll just give you an example this morning of how I used it, not in business. I just gave you an example then of coming home and going, right, I've got to create a podcast episode, and it happens now. Even though I was thrown a few things we've had, it's really bad storms here. So, we've had electricity out, we've had no internet, all of those sorts of things. And I thought, that's okay. There is always a way, because what would I do? What would a totally consistent content producer do? This is what they would do. They'd find a way and make it happen now, not tomorrow. So that was in business. So I'll share with you what I also used this morning, which as part of my fitness goals. And so you may relate to these ones a little bit easier and help you to be able to adapt this for you to be able to use to create success in your business. And it's at this stage I'd like to introduce you to Todd Herman's work, which is the alter ego effect. And I really felt some real parallels between James Clear's work with Atomic Habits and Todd's work, in that he goes deeper in helping you really create this identity. And so I have an identity of Super Janet, but Janet, the athlete in training. And I also have the identity of Janet, the business athlete in training. And so the question I ask myself all the time is, what would a professional athlete do in this situation? And so, for example, this morning, I've just got over the flu, so I'm not 100%. It would have been very, very easy for me to not turn up and go swimming with my buddies this morning. I swim twice a week. And, it's dark when I get up. Just getting over this flu, lots of reasons not to go. But the question I asked myself was, what would a professional athlete do? And I also do the same thing. What would a professional business athlete do? Because I think of them as the same concepts. And this came from the work that I did with Todd. And so this morning it was, well, they would have committed, they would have all their gear together, they've set the alarm early enough, and they will put the alarm in the ensuite, not beside my bed, so I can't hit snooze. Simple. Okay, that's what the athlete would do. They just wouldn't even think about it. But when it got to the pool, I actually struggled a little bit this morning because, I've just got over the flu. And it was, part of me was going, look, stuff this. I'm getting out. I'm just going to go and sit in the spa and wait for my buddies to finish, because I've got a really good reason here. But I thought, okay, what would a professional athlete do? Well, I thought, well, first of all, they'd assess, is it wise for me to continue swimming? Well, actually, I was fine, really. I just wasn't finding it as easy as normal. Then it was, okay, well, what would they do? A professional athlete would continue to the end. They would just stop thinking about it and just do it. And so that's what I did. And as soon as I made that decision that, you know, you're not that sick, Janet, you're just a little bit tired, you can do this, stop thinking about it and just do it like an athlete would, it actually got easier. And I actually was, when my friends were having the rest at the end, I found myself going ahead and doing extra laps. And I thought, wow, that was a really interesting, really short, very visible demonstration of applying this work from both Todd and from James on identity goals. What sort of person? So having that one of, who do I wish to be? What's the type of person I wish to be? And it may be a few different types, and that's okay, because different situations, you will have maybe a different type. I gave an example of, I'm the type of person who lets the people know who I love, how much I love them, by demonstrating it. That's quite different to, I'm the kind of person who acts like a professional athlete, even though they're particularly slow in the pool, but as has the mindset. So it's a very different way. So that is the kind of thing that you can be doing that multiple times a day and just see what sort of impact it has. Because if you're just asking yourself that question, what would that sort of person do? And then do it. Even if you're only doing it once a day, that's going to change some of your behavior. And so that's some action steps there. Number one, just get clear on your big goal. Have it, but it's your direction. We use $1 Million Business. Bring it down to, okay, well, what's my identity here as part of that $1 Million Business? You know what? I'm the industry leader that people come to because I have a flagship framework that gets results and people want to come to me. There you go. I'm that sort of person. Then you can always ask yourself the questions of, well, what kind of characteristics does this person have? You know, so you can ask yourself, what would they do in this situation? So, you know, this my big test is going to be is testing this out on Netflix. You know, would this person sit down and watch Netflix? Well, maybe they would. So, you know, if I've got it, if you want to wind down at the end of the day, that's totally cool. But if it's going to be a huge marathon, is this something that, what would this particular type of person do in this situation? So my challenge to you is, I like to bring you back to the concept of scare-sighted. So scare-sighted is that feeling you get when something is really exciting, but it scares the crap out of you. Because just it could be possible, but it's going to make you have to step up. So if you're going to be setting that identity goal, I want you to feel, how does it make me feel scare-sighted? So is it something where I'm thinking, yeah, I want that. I want that to be my identity. Because that is, if you don't resonate with it, if you don't feel that sense of scare-sighted, maybe you haven't quite got it right. It's either not right for you. You might be bringing on somebody else's identity that you think you should be having. I want you to really take that gut check and see, is this my true identity, the kind of person I want to be? And does it make me feel excited and a little bit scary because, wow, that's stepping up. So have that little scare-sighted check when it comes to you, first of all, deciding what is the type of person that I want to be. And then ask yourself that question multiple times a day, which means if you then decide to act in the way that identity would act, the kind of steps they would take, well, that means every single day you're having to challenge yourself to step into that feeling of scare-sighted. Because, hey, I'm actually going to make a decision. I'm going to act like this person I wish to become. So that's my final challenge to you, is embrace the scare-sighted, because reverse engineering back here, these are the things that are going to help you to take the actions every single day on your steps that's then going to lead you towards that goal that you have set yourself, that big hairy goal that you've set, that so many people set, but so few achieve. So let's change it, baby. Let's change it that you get to actually achieve that vision that you have. And you're doing it in a way that helps you to be able to grow and become the person that you want to be through that process. Because really, when it comes to business development, personal development, same thing. Okay, I'd love to hear from you. I'd really love to know what kind of identity you've come up with. You know, what is the type of person that you want to become? I'd really, really love to hear that from you. So come and find me. A great place is just come and find me on Instagram. I'm trying to hang out there a little bit more at the moment, and find me, send me a direct message. You can also find me on Facebook and LinkedIn. But Instagram's where I'll be checking quite a lot more. And come and just come and tell me. I would love to hear it, and I will cheer you on. Okay, and if you've got somebody that you think really needs to hear this, please pass it on to them. I'd love to be able to just help one more person to have that self-belief that they too can become that person that they need to be to achieve those goals that they want. Okay, go get them. Bye. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I loved hanging out with you, so let's do this again. The best way to do that is to subscribe right now to Romance Your Tribe podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you'd like to dive in deeper to more episodes, great resources, and really in-depth free training, come over and join me at romanceyourtribe.com. Bye.